Hello everybody, welcome back to the shop. 10 more minutes, canopy molded action. Give me the finger from this way. Well, guys, I found the cougar. I was going to take my video camera over there, man. I forgot it. I was halfway over there before I remembered. But I took care of you guys. I whooped out the old cell phone. Sorry about a couple of them short ones. There was mistakes. But what I'm doing is I ended up putting like 3 really light layers of this white resin. Okay, now if you guys wanted to mold a 60 size airplane, 90 size airplane, something like that, small jet, something small, something for electric, this is how I'd mold it right here. Okay, I put me about 3 thin layers of this white resin on there. Okay, and let it tack up. Now what I'm doing, you see, what we really got to do is reinforce these corners. What I'm finding out is we don't want to glob this stuff in these corners. Okay, it tends to chip out, especially with this white resin. This white resin is nice to use for this stuff because it sets up a little quicker. You know, I didn't have no issues except for my corners breaking out. And someone told me what I was doing wrong was I was putting it on there too thick. I should keep my not build it up with straight resin. You know, like this. Build it up with light cloth. Okay, that gets into the corners. You won't have no voids, and your corners won't chip out. And just start out with 4-ounce cloth, little pieces. You know, just little pieces in the corners. There's a corner right here we probably need to reinforce. Then went over to John's. Forgot it was Survivor night. Missed most of it. Good thing I got the DVR. So now I'm going to finish and watch the end. It's getting good, man. That Rob, he's quite the player. At first I thought, what did he want to do that for? I ain't going to tell you guys that don't know. In Australia, they don't get to watch it till tomorrow. But you know, the more I thought about it, the more I thought, man, maybe that was the best move I've ever seen in my life. You know? But I'm just going to work on this like this. I'm just going to put some of this 4-ounce everywhere. Work it all in my corners. I want this mold to really come out nice. Okay? But this is how I would mold up a small job. You know, which is, you know, your average size airplane. That's, you know, most people would want to mold. Okay? Once you get your plug and get this far, start out with little bits of cloth. Work it into the corners. And then work your way up to some heavier cloth, to where you don't have no air voids in them corners, and they're reinforced with cloth instead of just straight resin. You know, because actually this white resin don't have a very big compression strength. The clear resin's like 10 times higher compression strength. But you add some glass cloth and bam, there you go. You got your compression strength. But this white resin is actually, this is what this stuff is made for. Making molds. This is what it's made for. I think I was just doing it wrong. But yeah, man, the strangest thing, John couldn't get that turbine to run. It's a Jet Central. He bought it from some old boys we know, and Jason 757's buddy. I mean, and it ran for them, and John got it hooked up to that turbine. It would start on propane, but the fuel pump wouldn't kick on. You know, so after talking with everyone, talking with the guys from Jet Central, they decided, well, it's ECU. So John spent $275 on a new ECU. Okay, he got it. Today or yesterday? Yesterday. Plugged it in, same thing. And the only piece of electronics left, I mean, really, it's either your ECU or your fuel pump, because it would start on propane, the temperature would come up, the RPM would come up, so it wasn't the tach, wasn't the temperature probe, and the dang thing wouldn't start kicking fuel, start pumping fuel. So him and the guy at Jet Central finally figured it out. Someone had put a plug, another plug, in between the fuel pump and the ECU. You see, when your ECU starts ramping up, it starts real low. It only starts at like a half a volt. You know, because so it won't flood the engine. And with that plug in there, it was one of them UPC-3 plugs. I mean, it was a good plug. It was sucking the current up, and the fuel pump wouldn't start. John cut that plug out, soldered them things up, and it worked fine. Things started up. Couldn't believe it. But he knows, he checked them plugs with the current draw. He checked his extension cords, and they read it fine on his little tester, because that's what I was telling him last night. Man, check them cords. It's got to be in that cord. Look for loose solder joints. He checked them with his voltmeter. Everything was fine. And it ended up being that plug, man. The strangest things. He was ready to order a new fuel pump. Then him and the dude from Jet Central started talking. And John was telling them there's an extra plug in there. And the guy was saying, well, there shouldn't be. He goes, if there is, that's your problem. And sure enough, that's what it was. So someone had added an extra, you know, we know it wasn't factory, because factory don't use them UPC plugs. So he live and learn another lesson about these dang turbines, you know, but he was happy. He had to come over, man, let's start it up. And I forget my camera. So we got 3 planes ready to test fly now. Tell me this ain't going to be the exciting spring. We got that. John's got that great big F-18. We got the Cougar and the Thunder Chief all ready to test fly. That is what I call fun in the sun, baby. All these corners, man, let's work this cloth in. And we will have 0 voids. Our edges will come out like razor blades, man. So even when I start with my clear resin, because I don't want to keep going with this white, I got to have enough for the other side and the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and I'm still going to use this 4-ounce cloth. I'm going to build it up a little bit with 4-ounce. Then I'm going to hit it with the 10-ounce. And this is how you should do your small